This MacBook is 3 years old and still eating 4K edits for breakfast, but every time I post about it, people ask the same question: why haven't I upgraded? And yeah, maybe I should. The new ones are lighter, cooler and faster on paper. But here's the thing, there's one part of my workflow where this old M1 Max still beats a £3,000 MacBook Pro. So here's why I'm hanging on in 2025. For some context, mine is the 16-inch M1 Max with 64 gigs of RAM and a terabyte of storage. I primarily use this for editing full 4K timelines, color grading, tracking, and sometimes some heavy VFX. And it handles it all without breaking a sweat. Until I started overlapping effects, which caused a lot of lag and heat coming from the system. Would the new M4 MacBook fix this? Sure. It would push the lag point further and it would better manage the heat. However, does it warrant the price jump? But for me, raw power is only half the story. And what's really keeping it relevant is how it handles that power when it's plugged out. Even after all these years, I can still leave the house without the charger and make it through a full day of work while using demanding software. Sure, it's down from the 11 hours I used to get to about 6. However, when you take into consideration the laptop's age, it's quite impressive. And honestly, this longevity is one of the reasons this just makes sense in 2025. But another thing that allows this to age so well is the design. This thing's been in and out of my bag for years, a few dents and scratches here and there, but the hinge, the main thing, has stayed stable and reliable. The aluminium finish still feels premium and looks modern, and quite often people confuse this for the newer MacBooks and it kind of rubs my ego a bit. They're way louder and richer than expected, and I rarely ever go past 70% volume because it just gets too loud. I really like the 16-inch screen. It makes editing so much easier. HDR still pops, colors are accurate, and there's no burning. Although reflections are a bit of an issue, but it's worth it since the screen just looks so sharp. And the ports are still a huge win as well, with 3 Thunderbolt 4 ports, a SD card slot reader, as well as a HDMI port. And even after 4 years, you're not missing out on any of the ports the newer MacBooks have. In day-to-day, it's overkill. Web browsing, Canva, Google Documents are all instantaneous. And I can go from timeline tweaking to exporting a video in minutes. So in 2025, what's the catch? It's heavier than newer models, the camera can only record up to 1080p, and under maximum load, it heats up significantly more than the newer MacBooks. Here's the thing, in some real world tasks, this MacBook outperforms the newer £3,000 models. Why? Because it can sustain performance for longer without throttling. If you don't know what it is, it's when your laptop slows itself down on purpose to stop overheating. Plus, battery life under heavy loads is among the best in any pro laptop. I could upgrade tomorrow, but I'll be spending triple the money for only minor improvements in my actual workflow. And for me personally, I don't think that's worth it. This still gives me premium performance, a killer battery, as well as an amazing display. And until something major changes, this has to stay in my EDC. If you want to check that video out, just check right over there. But anyway, like, subscribe, support the channel, and I'll check you out in the next one.